Welcome to the All Out Leadership Podcast, hosted by Pastor Eric Lawson, where each episode is uniquely designed to help you live all out by bringing you practical leadership from a biblical perspective delivered in 10 minutes or less. So whether you're a business leader, serving in ministry, or simply looking to grow in your leadership, this podcast is for you. Before we dive into this week's topic, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and download the show notes at ericlawson.com/podcast. And while you're at it, feel free to share the content on social media. Now, let's join Pastor Eric for this week's conversation.
Hey everyone, welcome to the All Out Leadership Podcast. So glad that you're joining us. I hold in my hand a 1952 Topps baseball card. When I was a kid, I loved to collect sports cards. Didn't really watch sports, but I really did like collecting these cards. I picked up this card for about $6 and it's worth about $40 today. So not a bad investment. However, Topps produced another card exact same year of a man named Mickey Mantle, who is one of the legendary greats in baseball. Now, his card happens to be worth the best quality known on the market, sold recently for $2.8 million. Now, what's the difference between my $40 Topps 52 card and the 52 Mickey Mantle card? Why is there such a gap in terms of value? Well, there were about 19,000 Major League Baseball players that have been in the Major League since it started. And of the 19,000 players, there are many people that would be considered common. They're average. They're good, but they're just average. Well, what makes Mickey Mantle stand out? What made Mickey Mantle so great is there was only one Mickey Mantle. He wasn't average and he wasn't common. Therefore, his card has much greater value. And what we're going to be looking at for the next moment is how do we become not common, but how do we truly become uncommon for the things of God? I want to read a verse to you from 2 Timothy chapter 2. It says, "In a large house there are articles not only of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for special purposes and some for common use. Those who cleanse themselves from the latter will be instruments of special purposes, made holy and useful to the master and prepared for every good work." The Bible's clear that there are people who live their lives that are just common. They're just one of many people living their lives, going through the same mundane, repeating each day, kind of the Groundhog Day. God hasn't called you to be common. God's truly called you and created you to be an uncommon leader. I've often daydreamed, what would it be like if heaven had trading cards of us? And what would my rookie card be in heaven? My 1982 rookie card when I gave my life to Christ. Like, does that have value? Are there angels like trading up in heaven over the Eric Lawson 1985 rookie card? I don't know. I hope so. I hope my card isn't just in a box somewhere of just one of a billion Christians who've lived and existed, but didn't truly grab a hold of an uncommon life. So let's look at two things that made Mickey Mantle uncommon. What made him so great? Well, one of the things was this. Mickey Mantle was the best switch hitter in baseball history, meaning he was able to switch what side of the plate he was batting from. So depending on what type of pitcher was throwing the ball down the plate, he could switch sides to be able to effectively hit that ball. And in life, for us to truly become great, to truly become uncommon, we have to be able to know how to switch up our life a little bit at the pitches that come down our way, because life is throwing you a lot of crazy things. We're getting curveballs in business. We're getting curveballs in the economy. If you're a church leader, there are all kinds of curveballs that are continually thrown at us. Moms and dads, your kids, throwing curveballs at you all the time. And those that truly become uncommon as leaders are those that know how to switch quickly and pivot and make adjustments in their leadership style, adjustments in their business strategies. We have to know how to do that. I love this statement. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, but the realist adjusts the sails. Now, the second thing that I think that made Mickey Mantle great was he just kept on swinging. In fact, he had 1,710 strikeouts, and he had 1,734 times at bat where he was walked. That means he had 3,444 at bats where he never hit the ball. Now, the average player gets to bat at about 500 times a year. When you add that all up, that means Mickey Mantle went 7 years of his entire career never hitting the ball. Yet he's still one of the greatest players of all time. He's in the Hall of Fame forever. So the good news is this: you may strike out, you may just get some walks, but if you'll just keep on swinging, keep coming up to the plate, you too can truly become an uncommon player. If you enjoyed this, would you share it with someone else? We look forward to seeing you next week as we continue some great leadership insights from the life of Mickey Mantle.
Thank you for joining us on the All Out Leadership Podcast. We hope you gained new biblical insight that challenged you to grow in your leadership. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, we would love your help in getting the content out farther. You can help by subscribing to the podcast at ericlawson.com/podcast and telling others about it. Next week, Pastor Eric will be back with another episode. So until then, we hope you have a great week being an all-out leader.